propose l'ouverture de la séance, Monsieur le maire.
Merci, la conseillère Smalteni. Father, je peux voir l'appui, s'il vous plaît.
Oui, je l'appuie.
Merci, la conseillère Yulin. Tout en faveur, s'il vous plaît.
Oui. Oui.
Thank you very much. Adoption de l'ordre du jour, s'il vous plaît.
Oui, Monsieur le maire, je propose d'adopter l'ordre du jour de la séance ordinaire du 13 décembre 2021, tel que modifié ci-après, en mettant le point 16A, adoption de règlement numéro 2021-005, règlement édictant un code d'éthique et de déontologie pour les élus municipaux et remplaçant le règlement numéro 2017-009.
Merci, la conseillère Fini. Je peux avoir l'appui, s'il vous plaît.
Oui, je l'appuie.
Merci, la conseillère... c'est qui a fait l'appui?
Moi.
Merci, la conseillère Torres. Je n'ai pas vu, excuse. Tout en faveur, s'il vous plaît.
Oui. Oui.
Merci. L'approbation des procès-verbaux, s'il vous plaît.
Oui, Monsieur le maire, je propose d'approuver les procès-verbaux de séance du conseil tenu aux dates suivantes. Séance ordinaire du 15 novembre 2021 et séance spéciale du 25 novembre 2021.
Merci, la conseillère Torres. Je peux avoir l'appui, s'il vous plaît.
Je l'appuie.
Merci, la conseillère Fini. Tout en faveur, s'il vous plaît.
Oui.
Merci. And for everybody's information, the special council meeting on November 25th was basically a planning advisory committee meeting. It was windows and doors, we call it. Nothing under correspondence. We go right to report of the mayor. Alors, good evening, everyone. Bonsoir à tous. Welcome to our regular council meeting. It is the first council meeting back in the same room, and it's a pleasure to see you here again. Bienvenue à notre réunion ordinaire de conseil. C'est la première réunion de conseil dans la même salle, et c'est un plaisir de vous revoir. At our first question period, we will answer questions from the floor for a maximum of 25 minutes. We will limit it to 2 questions per person, a short preamble, your first question, then a follow-up question if you want. And I remind you folks, it's a question period and it's not a debate period. After the questions from the floor, we will answer any questions from residents that had been submitted online until 2 p.m. today on any topic. The same rule applies, 25 minutes total and 2 questions per person maximum. In the second question period, we will take questions pertaining only to the agenda submitted via our website during the meeting. We will limit it to 10 minutes from the floor and 10 minutes for online. Lors de notre première période de questions, nous répondrons aux questions de la salle pendant un maximum de 25 minutes. Nous le limiterons à 2 questions par personne. Une courte préambule, votre première question, et une question de suivi si vous le souhaitez. Et je vous rappelle que c'est une période de questions et non une période de débat. Après les questions de la salle, nous répondrons aux questions des résidents qui avaient été soumis en ligne jusqu'à 14 heures aujourd'hui sur n'importe quel sujet. Les mêmes règles s'appliquent. 25 minutes au total et 2 questions par personne maximum. Lors de la deuxième période de questions, nous répondrons aux questions relatives à l'ordre du jour soumis via notre site web lors de cette réunion. Nous le limiterons à 10 minutes depuis la salle et 10 minutes pour le online. And as we approach the end of the year, I want to wish you and your family a safe and healthy end of the year, and hoping we'll all have a better 2022. Alors que nous approchons la fin de l'année, je tiens à vous souhaiter, à vous et votre famille, une fin d'année en toute sécurité et en bonne santé, et on espère que nous aurons toute une meilleure année 2021. Merci, thank you. We're going now to Council's reports. We're going to start this evening from seat number 2, reporting on matters pertaining to public works, communications, and the environment. Councillor Elizabeth Hewlin, please.
Thank you very much. So I'll start with Public Works. Public Works has just undertaken its first snow operation of the season, and I want to remind residents not to leave any personal items on the sidewalk or the roadway, like waste bins, branches, or any special garbage for pickup. Snow equipment needs to pass along the streets and sidewalks day and night with unimpeded access. If our crews have to remove these items, it costs lots of time and money. Personally, I can remember when one winter a mattress was left out for pickup and got covered in snow, clogged up the snowblower, and nearly ruined the machine. So please take care to position your waste bins and anything else off the sidewalk and the street. If you have a natural Christmas tree, to dispose of, please leave it on your lawn for pickup, not the sidewalk or the boulevards. We can use these trees to decorate our outdoor skating rinks and then compost them for you. Please also remember to respect all the no parking signage, even if there's no snow removal operation in progress. These signs could indicate tree trimming, clearing a catch basin, fire hydrant repair, etc. And if you legally park in the street, make sure you don't park too close to the sidewalk so the sidewalk plows can safely pass. So now just a quick mention about the windstorm on Friday night. We came through it with only 5 trees significantly affected, which is a small miracle given the 100-kilometer-hour winds and our very old tree stock. And this is a testament, frankly, to Public Works' ongoing tree maintenance program, so we're pleased that they're on top of that. Within Public Works, I'm very pleased to announce that tonight we'll be making the position of Environment Coordinator permanent. This file has become especially important as the climate crisis deepens. Most recently, environmental staff have been busy drafting a 5-year action plan to carry out the sustainable waste management policy we adopted this year. They've also been instrumental in creating an environmental roundtable with other demerged municipalities so that they can discuss best practices in the field. Let's see, so of course we don't want to reinvent the wheel on every new environmental policy. The towns get together and discuss them. For citizens who want to get involved in local environmentalism, I'll be recruiting members for the Environmental Action Committee early in 2022. So keep an eye out on the bulletin and the website if you'd like to apply. In the meantime, please consider opting for second-hand or handmade gifts for this holiday to reduce your environmental impact. The Public Works Department will be closed from Friday, December 24th to January 5th. And now finishing up with the communications file, it's been its most challenging task this month has been setting up this live stream that you're witnessing tonight for in-person council meetings, the kind of hybrid with live streaming as well as in-person. So now that you've experienced it, I'd like to hear from you and let me know what you think. That's it for me, for my report. If you have any questions, you can certainly ask them at the in-person question period or the one at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hewman. And we're going to now move on to seat number 3, reporting on matters pertaining to finance, recreation, and topics related to the status of the age-friendly municipality. Councillor Colleen Feeney.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I'll start with administration. The town hall will be closed and the other public buildings will be closed from Friday, December the 24th till Tuesday, December the 4th inclusive. The offices reopen on January the 5th, 2022. In terms of the Finance Department, normally at this meeting we would be presenting our budget for 2022. However, during an election year, the government allows us to delay that budget if necessary. In this particular case, so much of our budget usually relates to what we have to pay to the agglomeration, which is about 35% of our budget. And Montreal is only presenting their budget, finalizing their budget, I should say, in January. So we will be delaying the presentation of our 2022 budget until January, and we will give you notification on that. So that's one thing. However, the 3-year investment plan called the Plan Triennial d'Investissement is not allowed to be deferred until the following year. So we will be having a special council meeting. It will be virtual this Friday morning at 8 a.m. to present our PTI, our 3-year investment plan. So you're all welcome to join that. It will also be available online. On September the 20th, we heard from the Audit Department of Quebec getting a notice saying that they were going to audit us and all other municipalities on our budget process and also on our process for how we develop our PTI that I just told you about. So the government has now published those results, and I am going to announce some of the results. For the 2021 budget, only 57% of the 1,074 municipalities audited complied with all the selected legal requirements related to its adoption and public notice. And for the 2021-2023 PTI, of the 1,074 municipalities audited, only 44% complied with all the selected legal requirements. Now, for Montreal-West, I have to tell you, for all the evaluation criteria verified by the Commission, the town of Montreal-West received a perfect 100% score. So we are very, very proud of this. I'd like to publicly thank our treasurer, Valentino Todoran, and all her finance team. This is absolutely amazing, especially when we compare it to all the rest of the municipalities in Quebec. So that's pretty great. All right. For this particular month, you're going to see later in the meeting, we are going to be passing disbursements of $1.3 million for this past few weeks, and I'd like to let you know where your money is going. Of that $1.3 million, more than about 70% of it has gone to capital expenditures, and most of that goes to the work that was done on Fenwick, about $571,000 there, and also about $330,000 for the roof here at Town Hall, a new roof. There was also another about $23,000 for miscellaneous projects, including $20,000 for the elections that we just had. Apart from that, the main expenditures, as usual, are with Public Works, and their main their expenditures were about $136,000, and the main ones there, again, are garbage, which is a combination of the composting, recycling, and garbage. That's about $37,000. About $24,000 in contract work, and that goes from everything to drains to electricity and cleaning, etc. And after that, vehicles, I guess, about $15,000, and that includes some also re-registration for next year. Recreation's main expenditures were for the arena, $10,000 getting that up to speed, and in terms of the administration, it was about $14,000 for audit and pension funds. And direct deductions at source and our utilities, as usual, amount to about 10%, and that's about $150,000. So those are the main expenditures in this past few weeks. Going on now to recreation. First time I'm going to be giving the recreation report. So I'll start with the community center. They had a new program this past term called Baby and Me Music Class. It was offered for 4 weeks. It was successful, so they will be offering it again in January, and those dates will be confirmed soon. The registration for the winter program is going well, and the March Break Madness Camp will be open from February the 28th to March the 4th, and information and registration will be available in January 2022. In terms of events, there's a lot of events planned for the Christmas holidays and for the holiday season. Some of these are online, and some of them are going to be for you to do at your home. The online holiday contests include pet portraits, outdoor home decorations, holiday tree prizes, and we want to thank the Merchants Association for giving us prizes for those. The deadline to submit pictures for those things is December the 18th. Please submit it on our website. And there's also on our website, you'll see other virtual holiday activities, including baking, crafts, etc. Also, we are doing a food collection for Head and Hands, and that is ongoing till this Wednesday, December the 15th. You can bring your donations to the Town Hall, the Community Center, and the Arena. And I'm told that so far there's been a very good response. So in these years of need, I really encourage residents to just drop off some items. You have until Wednesday to do so. The Recreation Department is also doing again the Mensch on the Bench and the Elf. The Mensch has been in different spots in town during Hanukkah, and the visits are also posted online. The Elf on the Shelf is about to start, and you will see again some surprise visits that he will be making online. On December 12th, just this past Sunday, we had an holiday excitement with games, activities, including face painting, scavenger hunts, and a visit with Santa. It was very well attended, and residents took full advantage of the free skating in the arena. Upcoming events now, December 15th at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall, there will be a lecture with Craig Morrison called More Unusual Than Usual Christmas Music. You have to reserve on Amelia. Masks and COVID-19 passports are required. There will also be a virtual CP holiday train on December the 18th at 8 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Then in the arena, the holiday hockey and free skate schedule and registration is now available on the town website and runs from December the 23rd to January the 3rd. The hockey boards have been put up on Rugby and Hodson Field, and preparation is underway for municipal ice services in the north, south, and central parts of town, which will be available for residents to use, weather permitting. Pool and day camp, the applications for that will be out in early January, so you can take a look for those. And finally, Seniors Committee. And the seniors, there were a couple of in-person events held this past month. The bridge was held, and also there was a Christmas dinner, very successful, attended by about 60 to 70 seniors on December the 11th. There was a foot clinic on December 8th, and there will be another one on January the 12th. And on January 20th, there will be a lecture from Bruno Stenson called Natives of New France. Communication is ongoing with the government on their MATA certification, and the senior advisory group will be meeting in the new year to discuss further our plans and our outlines. So that's it for me. Happy holidays to all. Stay safe, stay healthy, and if you have any questions, I'd be very happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Feeney. And for reporting from seat number 4 on matters pertaining to the urban planning, Councillor Maria Torres.
Bonsoir à tous, good evening, and welcome. It feels funny that I'm not reporting from Public Works. Done it for so long. So let me start with the permits given by the Urban Planning Department this month. Since November 13th, 2021. There were 27 permits given in all, and that includes permits to renovate interior, some outdoor fences, front steps, replacement of windows and doors, a garage door, walkway, and a couple of commercial signs. One is an awning, and the other one was just a sign, among other permits. In the last month, PAC held 2 meetings, one on November 24th and the second one on December 8th. In all, there were 9 files reviewed. Apparently, that makes me very lucky. It was a nice and easy start for me. Later on, I will be reading all of PAC's recommendations for the last 5 files. We would like to remind you that the next PAC meeting will be held on January 26, 2022, and the date to submit complete files is January 12, 2022. Please note that all PAC meetings, dates, and deadlines to submit your file for review are already posted on the town's website. And that to make an application, please visit our website. We have not only the dates, but we have all the instructions of how to do it and how to proceed. It is explained under the urban planning section and under the permits authorization tag. Last, please remember that to make an application, it can only be done online. This is quite important. If you would like to become a member of the Planning Advisory Committee, please let me know as we're looking for new members. You have to send us your CV and a letter of intent. You can either send it to Vlad Floria Archer, the person responsible in town for the urban planning department, or you can send it to me at mtorres@montreal-west.ca. That's all for me today, and but before I leave, I'd like to wish you all a happy holidays and a wonderful happy new year. Please be safe and stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Torres. And finally, reporting from seat number 1 on matters pertaining to public security, Councillor Lauren Small-Pennefather.
Thank you, Mayor Masala. Good evening, everybody. I'm pleased to present the public security portfolio this evening. As my colleague, Councillor Yulin, alluded to earlier, we have been subjected to some significant weather events, and public security has been very busy in the aftermath of the windstorm that we had earlier this week. as well as the snow removal that was going on the previous week. I would ask that residents please respect the ordinance with regards to snow removals and the orange signs where you're not able to park between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Unfortunately, vehicles will need to be towed under those circumstances to allow for the snow removal that must take place. Tickets can be up to $144 as well for people who do not move their vehicles. We ask people to please ensure that their vehicles are moved during the time periods that appear on the orange tickets, which are 24 hours in advance before the snow removal takes place. I also wanted to talk a little bit, unfortunately, tis the season where some theft does go up across the island of Montreal. We're not isolated in the town of Montreal-Ouest, and there are quite a few of thefts that take place, whether it be a stolen vehicle, which did occur, unfortunately, this month, as well as contents of vehicles being stolen as well because cars have not been locked, as well as theft of packages. A lot of packages are being stolen this time of year. There are a lot of deliveries, so just ask people to please be vigilant. If you're not at home, perhaps ask a neighbor to take a package in for you, if that's possible. And of course, please report this to public security as well as the police, so that we can work together with regards to finding a strategy to improve that. I also wanted to talk a little bit about dog waste. If you are a dog owner and you are walking your dog in the town of Montreal-Ouest, I would ask you to please use the public bins when you're disposing of the waste. That's the black portion of the bin, not the blue portion of the bin. And please don't use a private property or a private bin. Often people are depositing waste into a bin, which is a compost bin or a blue bin, and that can cause an issue with garbage issues. So just to please respect that as well. And I think that's going to be a short report for this evening. And I just wanted to mention as well a very valuable service that public security does provide is if you are not going to be home or you're taking vacation. You know, we've been locked down, people have not been traveling, but people will be traveling this season. You can inform public security and they will do rounds of your property. That is a service that we do offer to residents. If you're going to be away, please inform public security if you would like somebody to go by your house and check on it periodically while you're away. Always remember to leave an emergency spare key as well with a neighbor in case there could be a leak or something where access to your house would be important. And again, wishing everybody a very healthy and happy holiday season. Donc j'aimerais souhaiter une bonne saison, aussi plein de bonheur et santé. So that is my report for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Small-Pennefather. We're going to just take a second before we move on to the question period. We just have to a little technical adjustment, and then we'll get on to the public question period. Good. All right, so we're going to, as I mentioned before, we question period, one person at a time comes to the microphone. If anybody else wants to ask, I'm going to ask you to stay sitting down. Come to the microphone, you need to give your name and your address, short preamble, ask your first question, and then if you want, there's a follow-up question, you can ask your follow-up question. So the floor is open. Go ahead, sir. Break the ice. Go ahead, sir.
First, the honor of the first question and the...
You need to keep your mask on, Mr. Boulis. I'm sorry. Just for the microphone, so we don't have to disinfect it.
Thank you. Yes. Anyways, I'm very happy to see you all here today. I'm very happy to have an in-person council meeting. I think it's terrific that you're back. I think it's in the next one for sure. There won't be more councillors than citizens. Yeah, I think a lot of people were caught unawares. I have a question for the newest councillor, Councillor Small-Pennefather. In previous council meetings, former Councillor Mazzoni scolded residents for riding their bikes on sidewalks. Yet cycling on Westminster Street can be quite dangerous. Just a couple weeks ago, I saw this old fella but he wasn't on the sidewalk. He was doing his best, but it was harrying just to watch him go. and there are children too. I want to know, are there any plans to create proper bicycle paths through Montreal-West?
Thank you very much for your question. We certainly don't condone people riding their bikes on the sidewalk. As you've raised, that is quite dangerous for residents or people who are walking on the sidewalk. And I would also suggest that, what people could do is actually get off of their bikes if they need to be on the sidewalk. Westminster is quite a busy street, and they could walk their bike. With regards to bike path, as you mentioned, there isn't anything in the works right now, but Mayor Masella has a little bit more information concerning bike paths in Montreal-West. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Small-Ped.
Dan, could you state your full name and address for the town clerk?
Daniel Boulores, 204 Wolseley North.
Thank you.
I don't have to spell Wolseley, eh?
No, you don't have to spell it. We'll figure that one out.
Thank you, Mr. Bullers. Just in going back to bicycle paths that are strictly inside Montreal-West would be our domain, but bicycle paths that actually connect between municipalities, and our bicycle path would make sense probably connect to Côte Saint-Luc or to Lachine or to NDG. Those are agglomeration issues. Agglomeration is the ones that are responsible for agglomeration bicycle paths. Now, at one point, they did come to us and they had been proposing a bicycle path coming down Westminster, but they had trouble going up and over the hump. When you come up and over the hump, it becomes very, very narrow, and it wasn't necessarily the best street to have bicycles on. One day will we have bicycle paths, I don't know, on some of the side streets, like on Wolseley or on Brock or Bounce? I don't know that answer. That's something that the agglomeration, the people who look after bicycle paths at the agglomeration has not fully developed yet, but we'll participate in those conversations as soon as they invite us to, because the way I look at it, we have a new path out from Montreal-West down at the bottom of Brock, and it would be nice to be able to have some connection to that bicycle path, but that's something that falls inside the agglomeration, and it hasn't reached back to us yet. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you very.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ruiz. Are there any? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. Mayor Masella, Council, I hope you guys are all doing well.
Thank you.
I have three short questions.
Julian, I'm going to ask you to state your name and address for the records, please.
Julian Mazzoni, 49 Parkside.
And I'm going to limit you to 2 questions.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Go ahead, Julian.
My first question is regarding the traffic light here at the corner of Westminster. I've heard somewhere that I remember you said that the Turcotte owns it, and you were in the process of wanting to make that the town's light. Is there any update on that?
Sure, I can give you that update that we have now purchased the old broken light standard that's over here. Unfortunately,
At the bottom of the hill?
I'm sorry?
At the bottom of the hill here?
The one over here at the corner of Westminster Avon.
Okay.
Yeah, the corner of the one at Westminster Avon. Right now, that's there. We had to buy it to keep it in place because Turcotte was getting rid of their assets, or the people running the Turcotte project, and we'll eventually make that a permanent light and put in a better light, one that we can more
Synchronize it.
one that we synchronize. We only have one light, but one that we can actually modify whenever we need to modify the cycle. This one's we're not able to do that with this one yet. But to do that, we need the whole intersection to be finished. And with the work that's going on across the street at the east end, and with the changes in the sidewalks, and some work that we're going to be doing on Avon to replace some water sewers that are underneath there, so that may be another year or 2 before we actually implement a permanent light there. But in the meantime, this light will stay in place.
Okay, and my second question is just regarding if any other updates with the EXO North construction for the tunnel.
We actually spoke to EXO North about a month ago. It was about a month ago that they gave us a little bit of an update. Things are still on their side. Things are still on schedule. So they should have gone to tender now, like in December, so that the work is still proposed to be prepared to start in April. Okay. So that's the work to build that little exit on the north side and have people exit the trains either on Broughton or on Sherbrooke, not to be able to walk down the tracks and come out on Westminster. Mm-hmm. So that work, from what they told us, they're still on schedule to start this spring.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. I guess that's it. So we're going to move on now to the question period for that was submitted online. And the first question that comes to us is actually a question that was a leftover from last month. It was asked in the second question period last month, but it was after we had closed our meeting. So the question comes from Richard Moran, 12 West Wolseley South. Two requests. Could you tell me if the architectural contract for the new recreation center was the lowest bid? And could you tell me if the dog run on Westminster Ainsley contract was given to the lowest bidder? So yes, in both cases they were given to the lowest bidder. Okay, so that answers that question there. And now we're going to move on to the questions that were submitted for this question period. First question comes to us from Pat Cunningham, 115 Brock North. In order to reduce speeding through traffic on Brock North, Valentine North, and Strather North, is it possible to have inverse one-ways? For example, on Brock North, the one-way between Sherbrooke and Curzon would be north, but the one-way between Curzon and Nelson would be south. There is little additional cost and would greatly improve safety of the neighborhood. If I could ask you to answer that, Councillor Small-Pennefather, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Indeed, I think everybody recognizes that we have some significant traffic issues in the town, and we don't want to make a decision that could be the detriment of other parts of the town. We do have to undertake some more study concerning traffic and some of the possible solutions and measures that could be taken into account. And again, I'll mention that we are reconstituting the Traffic Safety Committee. So if you're interested, you can send me an email at l-pennefather@montreal-west.ca, because I'm as a new councillor, it's a pretty long name, so just want to make sure my email is clear, but you can find me on the website. So we will be looking at that over the term of a longer proposed solution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Small-Pennefather, and thank you for your question, Pat Cunningham. Second question comes from Mark Narenberg, 28 Westover Road. Thank you for restoring streetlights at the Westminster Westover corner. However, the old signs were on the southeast corner. The new ones are on the southwest corner, are partly obscured by the telephone pole, which they are behind. Could the signs, 1, be moved back to the southeast corner, or 2, could a Westover sign be attached above the stop sign on the southeast corner, or 3, could the signs be moved to the telephone pole where they would be higher up and more visible? 1 and 2 are preferred. They make it clear that east and Westover are the same street. So if I could ask Councillor Yulin to answer that question, please.
Certainly. Thank you very much for your question, Mark. I've taken note of this, and Public Works will have a look at the signs and look at your suggestions and see if something can be done about that. We certainly want them to be visible. I can't tell you what priority this will take in their workload. It's the snow season now, and they tend to be quite busy with those sorts of operations. But certainly, I've taken note. I'm actually meeting with the director tomorrow and make sure he gets your suggestions. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Yulin, and thank you for your question, Mark Nierenberg. Next question comes from Lise Tessier, 8 Courtney Drive. Why can't we allow tempos in Montreal-West? I have a very steep driveway and go through a lot of salt each winter. It would help Montreal-West to be more environmentally friendly by using less salt. Also, many contractors plow snow from driveways onto the street, making it a lot more work for our town road crews. Thank you for considering this, Lise Tessier. Councillor Maria Torres, if you could answer that question.
Yes, I will. Thank you, Mrs. Tessier, for asking this question. Basically, we have two main reasons why we do not allow temples in town. The first one is that it's not really fitting with the aesthetics of the town. The second one, it is quite an important one, it is that it poses a safety issue for the drivers, since the temples themselves block the view of the, might block the view from of the drivers. I've also been told that there are many other options for snow clearing, and I would like to encourage you and everybody else who have issues, please to explore them. The tempos are not really necessarily the answer. I hope that answers your question, and that's it for me today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Torres, and thank you for your question, Lise Tessier. Next question comes from Mike Elise, 62 Promenade Ronald. First question, what is the status of the vacant, unfinished lots at the edge of town, Brock South and Ronald? There are a lot of lots next to the newly constructed condos apartments that are just weeds and gravel. If this was in the middle of the town, the developers would be fined for not keeping it up. And two, the town was supposed to follow up with the Bellevue developers about the unfinished driveway leading from their apartment complex. This driveway would reduce traffic on Ronald. It has now been months, perhaps a year, and no progress. What is the town doing about this situation? To answer the first question, Mr. Illy, we will make sure that those lots, or that the owners of those lots, are spoken to. If the lots are in disrepair or in disorder, that's something that we should be on top of, and we will make sure that they are spoken to. In terms of the second one, the empty lot, or that empty driveway that's coming out of the first two phases of the Bellevue complex, the old Motel Raphael site, there is another building that's going up there. I'm not sure where they are in their planning. That's something that's in the purview of the City of Montreal. But you're stately correct, Mr. Lee, that there will be a driveway that people going into that complex will be able to access coming off of St. Jacques. So the idea is that once that building is built, they'll be able to come off St. Jacques, get into the building, go right down into the garages, and access all three buildings. But in terms of what's slowing down construction of the third building, I don't have that answer. I know we did speak to them back when you brought this question up a while ago, and that's what we were told, that they were just waiting to begin construction on phase 3, and I have not followed up with it since then. Okay? Thank you for your question, Mike Ely. We're going to move now to a question from Peter McLean, 150 Westminster Avenue North, apartment 3. This is the same question I asked last time in regards to the pothole in front of the bus stop on the sidewalk at Nelson, Westminster. It still hasn't been repaired, and when will it be done? Councillor Yulin, please.
Yes, certainly. Thank you, Peter, for your question. I walked over there today, actually, with Councillor Feeney, to have a look at that exact spot, and we had a look at the where the pothole was. I actually wasn't sure if you meant on the sidewalk or on the street, but in any case, as I said with my last question, I'll make sure it comes to the attention of Public Works, and I have a meeting with the director tomorrow. I will mention this to him. Also, I'll reiterate that it's snow season, and we prioritize all of these things with that in mind. So I can't tell you that it'll be done tomorrow, but we'll certainly look at it, and it will be on the list of things to be done. Thanks for your question.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Councillor Yulin, and thank you very much for your question, Peter McLean. Next question, that's actually the next question come from two different people, same question basically, from Laura Cousineau, 239 Percival Avenue, and from the other question was Haley Roop, 165 Bedbrook Avenue. So I'll just read out one of the questions, it's the same. Would you consider initiating a contest for best wildflower garden in Montreal-West, creating a monarch neighborhood challenge to engage residents in creating habitat for the monarch butterfly would benefit all pollinators, whose numbers have seen dramatic rates of decline, as well as adding to the quality of life of all residents. Thank you, and keep up the good work. Councillor Yulin, please.
Yes, thanks for your question, Laura and Haley. As I know, and others perhaps do, this was the project of the Environmental Action Committee this year, and a great one, and it's certainly something we want to keep up for 2022. We'll work with the Recreation Department perhaps to see that we can give out some prizes for pollinator gardens and to make sure they get planted here in the town, as was the commitment. So thanks very much for your question.
Thank you very much, Councillor Yulin. And I'm going to take that back. The question from Haley Roop was a little bit different. So I'm going to read out her question, okay? This past year, Council approved a proposal for pollinator gardens in Montreal-West put forward by the Environmental Action Committee. During the summer, Mayor Masella signed the Mayor's Monarch Pledge, promising to help restore balance to our ecosystem and provide sustenance to pollinators. Will you make concrete plans to identify available green spaces on public property where wildflowers can be planted, as well as plant a monarch-friendly demonstration garden at City Hall or another prominent location, i.e. Tobe Lake or Roy Lock Park? Funding from CN Eco Connections, TD Friends of the Environment Foundation grants are available for this type of project. So I don't think any work is being done, Haley Roop, but I will follow up. It's a question of what's on the agenda for Public Works already, but that is something that I did sign on for, and I'll see if I can follow up and get some more information and see if I can get some more concrete plans about when something like that could happen. Thank you very much for your question, Haley Roop. The question comes from Haley Clark Cousino, 239 Percival. June 21st, is National Indigenous Peoples Day. It falls on a Tuesday in 2022. As Montreal West has long held community nights on Tuesdays, can we plan on making June 21st, 2022 the first annual National Indigenous Peoples Day celebration and continue to include Indigenous Peoples Day in the roster of our other nationalities that we celebrate on community nights? Moreover, if there was a Canada Day celebration this coming summer, could we do something to recognize and perhaps educate people about stolen land and possible reparations to Indigenous people? Maybe we could do a booth in Strathern Park. If I could ask Councillor Feeney to answer the question, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Mayor Marsala, and thank you for your question, Haley. No, it's a great idea to have an Indigenous culture evening. In fact, the Recreation Department has had such evenings in the past, and I do believe they might be looking at something again for this year. Whether they'll be able to have it specifically on the 21st of June, or probably that would be a goal, but I can't promise that. But what I will say is I will discuss it with them, and as well as your idea about the booth. Maybe it would be a better time to even have a booth at that particular Indigenous culture evening. But they're both great suggestions. I'll bring them up with the Recreation Department. And I also like your idea when you're talking about to educate people, and I wanted to just point out to you and to anyone else listening that the library is doing a pretty good job of doing an educational series on Indigenous people and truth and reconciliation. They've had a few teas and they've had a few film sessions, and so I'm on their mailing list. And if you want, anybody wants to get more involved in that and be involved in the education there, I would suggest you contact the library. They're a very good source on that. So thank you for your question, Haley, and hopefully that answers it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Feeney, and thank you very much for your question. That was from Haley Clark-Cousino. Next question comes from Jim Alali, 112 Chemin Broughton. At the last council meeting, a resident mentioned that a question at a previous meeting had not been answered. He was reassured that it was answered and was available on the previous webcast. I believe that the problem is that not all answers are in the minutes of the Informer. I know the questions I have asked that were answered were not included in the Informer. Why aren't all questions included in the Informer? I believe that many more residents read the minutes in the Informer rather than sitting through 2 hours of the webcast. So to answer your question, nobody likes to sit through 2 hours of the webcast, but that's unfortunate. That's what we have to do as well. We have no control over what the Informer publishes. So the Informer reporter is usually here, and they'll publish what they feel they can publish, and respecting the space allocation that they have in their newspaper. So we have no control over that, Mr. Mullally. But I'm sure they're hearing this tonight, and I'm sure they'll take that into account when they're looking at updating their requirements. Thank you very much for your question, Mr. Mullally. Next question comes from Nick Giannis, 84 Percival. Over the past year, my wife and I have submitted questions to the town on 2 different occasions using the forms available on the website. In both cases, we did not receive a reply even after waiting for months. We followed up with emails to the town councillors and the mayors and only received one response from Councillor Torres. My question is, why is there no response to the website, and why was there no consistent response from the town council members? So I'm just going to start that question. I'm going to start that answer, Mr. Janis. I did find the question. The question was asked to the councillor that was responsible for public security in the previous mandate, and usually when a question comes to all of us, that's addressed to all of us, the councillor that's holding the responsibility for that portfolio, they answer, and we don't follow up to make sure that the answer was given. So in this case here, Mr. Janis, you're saying that you weren't given the answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that question, and it was a public security question, and I'm going to forward it over to Councillor Small-Pennefather, who will follow up with you with an answer via email. I apologize for that, Mr. Janis. It fell through the cracks. We thought somebody else had written the answer or provided you an answer, but you're saying that wasn't the case. So I apologize for that. I think that's the end of our first question period. We're going to continue back with our agenda, and we're going to go on now to number 9, contracts in the town's clerk's office, statement concerning the protection of council members against COVID-19. This is a resolution that was brought up at the AGLO. They just want to make sure, or they want people to know that we're stating that as a council and people that are working at this table, that we're adequately protected for COVID, and that helps protect you as well a little bit. So if I could have somebody move the resolution, please.
Whereas the Agglomeration Council of Montreal adopted Resolution CG 210667 on December 2nd, 2021, by which its members declared that they are adequately protected against the COVID-19 virus. Whereas the Agglomeration Council has invited the council members of related municipalities to make a similar statement. Therefore, I move that the members of Town Council of Montreal-West declare that we are adequately protected from COVID-19 so as to carry out our duties.
Thank you very much, Councillor Small Pennefather. Can I have a seconder, please?
I second that.
Thank you very much, Councillor Yulin. All in favor, please.
Aye.
Thank you very, very much. Number 10, Administration and Finances. 10A, approval of disbursements for the period November 12 to December 10, 2021.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move that the list of accounts payable from November 12th to December 10th, 2021, totaling $1,314,630.12, be approved and paid as listed.
Thank you very much, Councillor Finney. Can I have a seconder, please?
Yes, I second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Small Pennefather. All in favor, please.
Aye.
Thank you very much. B, délégation des pouvoirs pour le mois de décembre 2021.
Oui, Monsieur le maire, je propose d'approuver le rapport du directeur général concernant l'exercice des pouvoirs délégués en vertu du règlement numéro 2005-002 pour la première moitié du mois de décembre 2021.
Merci, la conseillère Yulin. Je peux voir l'appui, s'il vous plaît?
Oui, je l'appuie.
Merci, la conseillère Torres. Tout en faveur, s'il vous plaît.
Aye.
Merci. RBC Investment Certificates.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move that Council ratify the administrative decisions made by the Treasurer to invest in 2 guaranteed certificates of $1 million and one of $500,000 with the Royal Bank of Canada, each being for 1 year and cashable out after 30 days with an interest rate of 0.87%.
Thank you very much. Councillor Feeney, can I have a seconder, please?
I second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Small Pennefather. All in favor, please.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Budget transfers.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the following budget transfers according to the recommendation of the Treasurer, so that the corresponding expenditures be charged to the operating budget of the current fiscal year instead of the earlier appropriations below. $20,163.55 for the Courtney project, 22332-20721, and $17,217.95 for the Davies Park project, 22332-21721.
Thank you very much, Councillor Yulin. Can I have a seconder, please?
Oh, I second that.
Thank you very much, Councillor Feeney. All in favor, please.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Number 11, Urban Department. 11A, Site Planning, Projects and Architectural Integration Program. Councillor Torres, please.
Yes, thank you. I move to accept or to acknowledge receipt of the minutes of a meeting held by the Planning Advisory Committee, PAC, on December 8, 2021. Secondly, to approve as presented under the SPAIP the following plans submitted to this meeting, in accordance with the recommendations of the PAC as outlined in the minutes. 229 Personal, renovation of the front porch, including the replacement of the front door and 4 windows, as well as the replacement of the front landing, stairs, and railing. 59 Ainsley, replacement of 12 windows, a regular door, and a patio door. 136 Sheraton, replacement of 2 windows with a patio door in the back. 349 Valentine North, replacement of the front door. Then, to defer the examination of the following plans to a next meeting of this council, in accordance with the recommendations of the PAC as outlined in the minutes. 150 Valentine South, replacement of 27 windows and a patio door.
That's it? Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Torres. Can I have a seconder, please?
I second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Small-Pennefather. All in favor, please?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We're going to 11B, minor exemption request. Normally, we have Councillor read out what the minor exemption request was. In this case here, it's a minor exemption request at 70 Nelson, and it was for the sale of a house. So it wasn't for somebody that wanted to build a new structure. They're selling their house. Their house originally wasn't respecting our bylaws, and now when they redid it, it's not. So this is something that we unfortunately, we're getting these requests every month. So if I could have somebody move the motion, please.
Yes, thank you. I move that the plans and requests submitted to the November 10, 2021 meeting of the Planning Advisory Committee be approved in accordance with bylaws 2020-002 and G-18-0005 for the following minor exception from the schedule of uses and standards in effect under section 3.2.2 of the zoning bylaw regarding the movable located at 70 Nelson in zone RB4-2 normalize an encroachment of the main building, which is located at 2.25 meters from the property line, while the minimal rear setback is of 6.1 meters. The consequence being to reduce this requirement by 3.85 meters.
Thank you very much. Councillor Torres, can I have a seconder, please?
I second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councillor Small-Pennefather, all in favor, please?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Nothing under Public Works. We're going to go right to Human Resources. Appointment of a permanent appointment, of an Environment Coordinator.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I proudly move, or am very pleased to move, that employee number 494 be appointed to a permanent position of Administrative Manager as Environment Coordinator.
Thank you very much. Councillor Yulin, can I have a seconder, please?
I second it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Torres. All in favor, please?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Recreation and Culture, a grant application for the 2022 Platinum Jubilee for community projects.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I move that the town of Montreal-West apply for a grant to the Celebration and Commemoration Program under the component 2022 Platinum Jubilee of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II for community-based projects, undertake to comply with the application guidelines, and authorize the Director of Recreation and Cultural Services to sign any necessary documents for this purpose.
Thank you very much. Councillor Feeney, can I have a seconder, please?
I second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councillor Small-Pennefather, all in favor, please?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Dépôt du document 15A, registre de dons reçus par les membres du conseil. Une copie des registres de dons, des marques d'hospitalité et avantages d'une valeur supérieure à 200 piastres reçus par les membres du conseil fut déposée. Nulle mention de dons ni figure. In other words, we got nothing. In 15B, CMQ compliance audit report. This is what Councillor Feeney was mentioning before. Budget adoption. The Commission Municipale de Québec undertook in 2021 a compliance audit of the municipalities having a population lower than 100,000 residents with respect to the rules applicable concerning budget adoption. The CMQ has now released its report and it was tabled at this meeting. And finally, le rapport d'audit de performance de la CMQ, le plan triennal d'immobilisation. La Commission municipale de Québec a effectué en 2021 un audit de conformité des municipalités dont la population est inférieure à 100 000 habitants en ce qui a trait aux procédures régissant l'adoption d'un plan triennal d'immobilisation. Le CMQ a publié son rapport à ce sujet et l'a déposé à la présente séance. Adoption, avis de motion, lecture of adoption. That was 16A, that was being deferred to a later meeting. And we're going to go right now to the second question period. So far, we've received one question, and it comes in from Abby Shivitz at 138 Ballantyne North. The sound quality has been very bad. There's some kind of strange echo reverberation, as you might be aware, to the extent that it has made listening very difficult. Perhaps this can be looked into before the next month's meeting. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Shivitz, and we appreciate the feedback. We're on it now. This is the first time we're trying to broadcast with 2 iPads and having us all in the same room. So there's probably some technical issues, and they're working to resolve them. So we hope we have it fixed up before our next meeting. Thank you very much for your question. So I think that's the end of our agenda. If I could have somebody, unless there's other questions on the floor, I apologize, I skipped right over that. Thank you very much. If we could have somebody move pour la levée de la séance.
Oui, Monsieur le maire, je propose de lever la séance.
Merci, la conseillère Fini. Je peux avoir l'appui, s'il vous plaît.
Je l'appuie, Monsieur le maire.
Merci, Madame conseillère Swamp Father. Tout en faveur, s'il vous plaît.
Oui.
Merci. Thank you very much, folks. Have a good evening. Thank you for coming out, and thanks for the staff that's here trying to make this happen.